Just as nature gives, nature also takes away. This is a video I was hoping I would not have to make. Sad times. Come on, I'll show you what's going on. Here we go, into the polytunnel. Now, I came up here this morning to do the chickens and discovered something. As you can see, I've had a bit of a snip. So the tomatoes have got blight. Now, normally, you could mistake things for like just some dying leaves or whatever, but this is blight. You see it's got the stem of the beefsteak. Where else is it? Here we go. Okay, so look at the gardener's delight. So this is definitely blight. You see it there as well. 100% blight. I mean, look at the leaves as well. All blight symptoms. So yeah, a little bit upset. I'm not gonna lie, but I'm not going to be too disappointed because you have to expect these things and deal with them. This is nature, there's ways to obviously prevent blight, but I will tell you what I think has happened and how blight has come on so quickly in this polytunnel, because quite honestly, the other day I didn't notice it at all. I mean, not on the stems, definitely not on the stems, but I think I know what's happened in here, and I will tell you guys my thoughts. Maybe you have other thoughts, let me know in the comments, but this is what I think's happened. So as you guys are probably aware, blight is a fungal disease and it's airborne, it's carried by the wind, and it thrives in damp, warm conditions. Now recently, we have had a spate of very cold nights, so the temperature's been dropping down to like 2 degrees. So what I've been doing, you live and learn, I've been closing up the polytunnel completely, and I have not been coming up like I was previously in the summer to reopen it in the morning to air it out. So I've noticed, like, literally, the ceiling's like dripping. So my theory is, because I've been doing that, it's created the perfect storm, all this moisture to come down, because we've had quite warm days, cold nights. All this moisture's been coming down onto the plants, it's then been heating up, there's been no airflow in here, and this is what has caused blight to set in. I mean, obviously it's airborne as well, so I mean, yeah, it's probably been carried in here. This allotment site is huge, so undoubtedly there's going to be blight somewhere here. Someone's probably got it. Yeah, it's looking bad, and I'm not going to take any chances, and the reason for this is because of the peppers. The princess is here. Now, I have read, it's not common, it's unlikely, but blight can spread to these. Peppers are not immune to it, and I don't want to lose our chilies and our peppers. I really don't. So, yeah, sad times, but I'm going to have to pull these up. I'm going to harvest whatever's left. I reckon we could have had another 3 or 4 weeks of tomatoes, potentially, from this. But I think the best thing to do is just to harvest them before the tomatoes actually start rotting. I think we'll probably freeze most of them. I guess it's tomato soup for dinner tonight. But yeah, I'm going to have to do it. I mean, luckily, blight won't stay in the soil, as far as I know, so once this is cleared, I can give it a dig over. Yeah, it should be good for next year, although we're not putting the tomatoes in the same place. They're being moved to the other side of the polytunnel. I keep glancing down because I'm just looking at the peppers, and I'm apparently, yeah, you should be able to spot it if it's infected the peppers. I hope not, but I'll have a look. Now I'm going to be popping any good tomatoes in these baskets I've got here. Any bad ones and the infected stems are all going in the bin bag. I'm taking this infected stuff off the site. It's not staying here, and it's going to go in the trash at home to be burned, because I don't want to leave it up here and obviously maybe affect things for next year or other people that are on the site. I think it's only fair. Well, let's get snipping. I've got my trusty secateurs and pruners, and also I will be taking those home with me when I'm done to thoroughly disinfect them so it doesn't spread to anything else. So I'm pretty sure that the blight has got into this one, so this one unfortunately cannot be ripened off and is going to have to go in the trash as well. You should avoid ripening off tomatoes where the plants are infected with blight, because apparently the tomatoes will just rot. So I mean, I might do a couple just to see, just to test that theory, but anyway, yeah, we got more.
Hi Chase, have you come to see the disease zone? Are you staying away? Can you smell? Does it smell like it's diseased? Hi.
Yeah, I mean obviously it doesn't smell diseased, blight doesn't have a smell, but these are the beefsteak. This is what we had left of the beefsteak. I mean, this plant has done amazing this year, quite honestly. I read that you should only really get about 10 decent tomatoes off the beefsteak that we've had, and I can say we've easily had 30 odd maybe. I mean, these are the leftovers. We've been eating them for a long time now, but I think I'm definitely going to grow beefsteak next year, that's for sure. I don't know about using the seeds from these. I might just get some new ones, maybe a more blight resistant variety, and that's it. All that remains is tomato tower. A bare skeleton. I've got the stumps in there, which obviously I'm gonna pull up, but this is great really, because it means I can give this a refresh and we can pop in some new veggies, maybe some lettuce or something. Then down here, this is everything that is going to need to be taken off site. Oh, there we go. It's quite a big pile, so that's all going in bin bags, and then we've got the remainder of the gardener's delight here. There's quite a few. There's enough. Well, there we are, 4 bin bags full of tomato plants. All this is going off site. I'm going to take it home, dispose of it. I don't want to have blight spread up here. And if we swing around to the polytunnel, it's a lovely warm sunny day today, which makes a change. So I'll just show you. I mean, I've taken tomato tower down now. I've just got to dig these stumps up, give this ground a dig over, whack in some fresh compost, and I think we'll put something else in here. I know I mentioned lettuces, but I might do something completely different. We'll have a think about that. Maybe leave a comment if you got any ideas what I could grow in here until I put more potentially chilies or peppers in there next year on that side. But anyway, let's have a look. We got the cucamelons. That plant's slowly starting to die off, so I don't think it'll be too long before this one goes as well. A lot of the fruit has been harvested. I can't see that many flowers on it now either. And then the chilies over here, hot lemon, the spicy one, and we've still got more Flora F1 peppers. We got the cucumber black still going strong. Got a few little gem lettuces there, and the cucumbers, these are doing well. We got lots of cucumbers going, and there's one in here left. Look at that. It's like grown through that square. So that'll be a fun one to pick. And then we've got a bit of coriander. There's some spring onions there. And we have basil, fiery flames, hot lemon chilies. They need to feed actually. Some of the leaves are gone a bit yellow. And then we got more spring onions, more Thor F1s. And then in there, which have just started coming up, I've got golden turnips, which will be an outdoor crop obviously. Let's have a quick look around the rest of the plot. Hi Chase, I was going to say Sylvie. Still call you Sylvie, even though your real name's Chase. Look at that lovely blue sky. It's a bit cooler now. So we still got main crop spuds, Valor and Maris Piper in there. And we have a Chase, which has grown nicely. How are these pumpkins? Yeah, whoa. It won't be long. It won't be long. And they're still flowering. Like the plants, it is starting to die off, but slowly, the older leaves, but they're still going. We still find flowers on them. And of course the compost bins, which you saw in the last video. I need to cover that up. And then here, the cherries. No flowers, no fruit this year, but that's fine because they were babies when we got them. The 2 fig trees. Those gladioli, I'm going to pull those up soon. I think Han actually wants to put some rose bushes in here next year, so that'll be nice. The sunflower, which we saved, which we thought was a weed and pulled up, and has, yeah, come on really nicely. The flower garden. And then, of course, more cucamelons. Now these strawberries, I don't know if you saw me do this in the ASMR video. Basically, I've mentioned a while ago that I wanted to put them in pots or planters and grow them, so that's what I was doing. So they have got their sort of permanent homes in there now. And then we'll swing around here. This patch will hopefully have the golden turnips in. We have got beets. They're still going. I'm letting these get a bit bigger than I normally would. Got a few rows of tiny beets planted a while ago there. And down there I've got purple broccoli, which a neighbour gave to me. He just said, do you want these plants? He said they did get munched by caterpillars, but I said, yeah, why not? And they don't look great. I don't know how they'll fare, but yeah, free plants, isn't it? And then back up here, mega shed. And we have the tomatoes that I've just picked, the diseased ones. And our hanging basket micro cherries. These need one last picking, and I think they can go as well. They've done so well this year. And these guys didn't get blight. Herb garden. We actually picked some fennel seeds. There will be a members video where they are being used in a recipe by Tilly. I'm not sure if that video will come out before this one, so I won't mention what it is, but it's a cooking one. The herbs are looking nice. And then we got the sprouts. Sorry, my shadow is right in the way. These sprouts are looking really nice, doing really well, and I think there's some baby sprouts coming on them. Black magic kale. This is a very tasty plant, very tasty. Yeah, as you saw in the 24-hour video, I tried that for the first time in my broth, which was interesting. How's Wild Garden? Oh, I'd like to do some work on this next year. I think we wanted to build a big bug house, so we'll probably do that. And of course we've got lots of mooli still on the grow. Might pick a few of those actually. So nothing in here. This is where we have the carrots. Shame inside. It is completely empty. There's going to be a load of compost, maybe manure whacked in there, because next year we're going to grow the melons in here. I think it'll be an ideal place for that. And let me show you something else. Where is it? Where are they? So there's a few tears in this. So I'm going to get something more sturdy to go on top of this next year, because the birds keep landing on it and their claws are sinking through. Right, well, let's just sum things up for this video. Well, I hope you enjoyed that quick tour. Yeah, a bit of a ups and downs video, really. Well, mostly downs, I suppose. But like I say, you know, it's real life on the plot. We've never professed to be professionals. We're learning and documenting our journey along the way. And it's fantastic to look back and see what we've done, what we can do better next year. And also get some amazing advice from people at the site here and you guys in the comments. Am I disappointed about the tomatoes? Yes, of course, but you live and learn, don't you? If you have an allotment, if you're growing things, you've got to expect that these things are going to happen. Nothing's foolproof at the end of the day, is it? I mean, another thing I should probably mention as well is that we know that this site here is prone to blight. Like a lot of the more seasoned gardeners and the veterans up here, they don't even bother growing tomatoes because they've learned from experience that they will likely get blight. I mean, Tilly got blight last year. She's had blight this year, which she managed to cut off all the infected bits, and I know that won't get rid of blight completely, but it slowed it down. Yeah, and you know, she had some good tomatoes. Well, I hope you've enjoyed the video. You know, it's a bit of an unexpected one, but like I say, I'd like to document everything we do and show you the highs and the lows, because it's not all pretty stuff. You know, it's not all perfect world and nothing ever goes wrong. You know, things do go wrong, and that's how you learn, and that's how you get better at doing things. And next year I'll know to pay more attention to what is going on in the polytunnel and make sure I'm up here to open those flaps and let some air movement through as well. Thank you ever so much for your comments on the 24-hour video. I would love to do that again, and I think I will. I'm just going to keep an eye on the weather and the temperatures, because you know, like mid-September it's gonna start getting a bit cold. It was extremely cold filming that video. But it was fun. If you haven't seen it, please do check that one out. It was a good experience, and yeah, cold. Anyway, thank you ever so much for watching. Please do drop the video a like and subscribe if you have not already, and drop us a comment, because we love reading them and we always have time to reply to them as well, because if you guys are taking time to write a comment, we're going to take the time to reply back to you. Thanks so much, guys. See you in the next one.